I'm Rochelle, and I'm here to tell you to stop sexualizing women's clothing. I remember a post on Facebook. It was a picture of a girl wearing nothing in the middle of the street, with a text on her body that says, "Still not asking for it." Clearly, it was a protest against the objectification of women. However, there is someone who commented, "But then again, it's kind of like putting a meat suit on and telling a shark not to eat you." And then another man replied, "We men are not sharks. We are not rabid animals living off of pure instinct. We are capable of rational thinking and understanding." Unfortunately, the issue of how a woman should dress up herself has always been present in every society since then. There was even a time when a woman showing off her ankles was a taboo. But why does society keep on perpetuating gender stereotypes? Why are women responsible for men's thoughts? Dress codes everywhere, getting catcalls with whatever you wear. These are just some of the struggles of being a woman. And it is heartbreaking that there are still people who blame women for the sexual urges of men. There are still people who think it is an excuse to pester someone because she is wearing revealing clothes. What a woman wears is not and will never be an invitation to sexualize her. As a woman who has experienced the same thing, I want to speak up for the victims of this patriarchal society that normalizes sexual violence and allows these things to happen. The voices of my fellow women are often unheard because of the outdated beliefs of many Filipinos. And I am here to challenge the status quo that oppresses women. I am here to tell you to stop sexualizing women's clothing. Sadly, some people still believe that women's wardrobes are the cause of sexual crimes. I too was once a victim of that mindset and later realized that I was wrong. There was this time when I was wearing a dress on a jeepney because I attended my friend's debut. I was busy listening to music when a friend of mine, who is also riding that same jeep, messaged me that a guy had been looking at me the whole time. There were only a few passengers left when he transferred next to me. Each time I moved over, he also did. I felt super uncomfortable. I wanted to cry. I wanted to ask for help, but I wasn't sure if the guy was really trying to do something bad to me. When I got home, I cried and cried. It was a horrible experience. So I asked myself, was it because of what I was wearing? I was convinced it wasn't the clothing when I experienced it again. This time, I was wearing a t-shirt, pants, and rubber shoes. I was also riding a jeepney, excited to meet my friends, when a middle-aged man got on and sat beside me. He accidentally placed his hand on my leg, so I removed it and I transferred next to a female passenger. To my surprise, he also transferred next to me. So I just sat there, feeling uncomfortable. I was ready to alight the jeepney when he whispered, "Take care," and I got really scared. I hurriedly went to our meet-up place, and as I approached my friends, I burst into tears. It really has nothing to do with what I wear or with what women wear. And I don't think there will still be rape cases if it was only about the clothing. Because trust me, if that's really the case, wouldn't we all just start covering ourselves to solve this global problem? Another thing is that most women I know have experienced sexual harassment at least once in their life. And that's how serious this issue is. Some people don't understand the gravity of this matter because they're not experiencing it firsthand. But we have to understand that we don't have to undergo the same situation people are going through to start empathizing and sympathizing. Start thinking about the women you value a lot experiencing the same thing. Yes, your mother and sister too. And maybe through remembering them, we will try to give much importance to creating a world that is safer for them. In 2016, social weather stations and United Nations women found that 88% of women aged 18 to 24 experience sexual harassment at least once in their life. And 1 in 7 women experience it every week during that same year. Just imagine the horror of being a girl. You can't walk alone at night without thinking about your safety. You can't go home late without worrying what might happen to you. What's worse is that the fear women feel is just the same even if their bodies are all covered. Lastly, sexual offenders get away with their crimes because we always focus on what the victim wore and blame them for it. I want you all to know that this is the very reason why women feel unsafe. We give so much attention to what the victim wore when it happened, to the point where we don't realize that we are letting these sexual offenders keep on doing it to other people. We are allowing them to run away and live the best of their lives while the victims are criticized by the society which is supposed to protect them. According to Maureen and Snyder, victim blaming happens because people feel safer by believing that it is the victim's fault for wearing provoking clothes, and by convincing themselves that they could avoid it by wearing clothes that cover most of their skin. Even though some people are doing it to help themselves feel better, it is still wrong to blame the victims for something that happened to them, which I'm sure they didn't ask for. It is very insensitive to judge them based on their clothing instead of condemning the actions of the perpetrator. If we truly want to feel safer, let's hold these sexual violators accountable. Let's stop the mindset that clothing has to do with these crimes. Women's wardrobes have long been used as an excuse for sex crimes. However, when you look at the data on why people rape, it doesn't add up because in the study conducted by a psychologist named Sandra Schulman, victims of sexual crimes are wearing a range of outfits from revealing clothes to snowsuits. Even Maria Clara, the idealized Filipina, was sexually assaulted by Padre Salvi even though her body is fully covered. So stop blaming women's clothing as the cause of sexual crimes. We should never get tired of educating people because there are still people who believe that women's wardrobes are the cause of sexual crimes. Women are still unsafe in public spaces, and some sexual perpetrators still get away with their crimes because we focus on the victim's clothing. Again, it has nothing to do with what I wear or with what women wear. It has to do with men who lack decency. It has to do with the society that allows men to get away with it by blaming it to women's clothing. So let's stop telling women to cover up to protect themselves. Stop the hashtag protect our women because we don't need protection. We need to feel safe. Let's stop laying the blame on women's clothing because we are making it easier for the sexual perpetrators to diminish their guilt. Start holding these guys accountable instead. Do not help them by repeating stereotypes that negatively affect victims. Let's start promoting an environment that is safe for everyone. If you're a woman and you've experienced it, I want you to know that it's not because of your clothing. If you're a man and you're thinking, I would never do that, then good. But you should do something to make women feel safe and comfortable. Let us all take part in changing the culture and mindset of Filipinos which enable these things to happen. Remember, clothing does not mean consent. Thank you.